I.
Well, and that would be big. So
That's
I don't
average.
know.
Yeah.
You're 16.
I don't like my stuff here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my book in because we're referencing. Hi.
Hello.
I'm just coming in. That's it. I'm not bring my stuff.
You're not bringing your stuff?
Light crowd this morning. Light crowd this morning.
Oh, yeah, I can't find it. I wore a sweater today, so like put the pants. He did just wear a sweater. Oh, thank you. So cute. We're trying, to just.
Look
embrace
cute.
it.
Yeah.
Well, embrace it,
Oh, I can.
Oh, yeah, we got fan point.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Nobody's out here making noise. I'm gonna leave the door open for us. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. Got some announcements to make, and then we'll do our core value, and then we're gonna have a presentation from
Sure. Yeah.
Tosya and Holly are going to present to us this morning. Things they learned at TAR. So, okay, first thing that I need to hit on, we need to get, if you've got a CDA, and I'm talking to the internet too, because the video is being recorded this morning. But if you've got a CDA, it needs to be submitted to Victoria at least 5 days in advance for you to get closed. She doesn't like to work on it all day long, so she works on it when she has time. And she does other things as well, like transaction coordination, things like that. So if you have a CDA, please get it into ReChat and hit the submit for review button so that Victoria knows to get on your CDA so we can get that approved in a more normal time plan. We just got started.
So wait, 5 days before closing?
5 days prior to closing is what Victoria requests.
They won't have closing documents until 3 days before.
In some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's best as early as you can, because if by 5 days before closing, you know what the closing dollar amount is going to be, unless there's a last minute amendment.
Yep.
And then you just need to slack Victoria and say, hey, we had an amendment, change this and this, and then we get that done. Bell County team meetings are moving to Wednesdays at 9:40 so that they can join us in this class. So they're going to meet before us, and then they'll join us for the 10 o'clock meeting. I thought it was be a good idea for them to get some of the same trainings that we offer here in the Fort Worth office. So that good morning. So Bell County team meetings are moving to Wednesdays at 9:40. Quarterly catch-ups. There's a couple of slots left on the 16th and 19th. I'd love to meet with you. It's not required. You guys are independent contractors, but I would love to meet with you to say, what's up? How you doing? How's your life? That kind of stuff. So please, 16th and 19th are still available. New leasing procedures are available on Slack under the quick links. There's two things there. There's the leasing procedures, which is like a 2-3 page document. And then there is the, what's it called? Lease payment requests. So just to be clear, we said this last week, and I'll say it again a couple more times. So, if you're doing a lease listing, you must put your documents in ReChat. If you're doing a lease for a tenant, you don't have to put your documents in ReChat. You do not. All you have to submit is the lease payment request. Okay. It's a Google form. So when you submit it, that's it. You're done. Keep your documents. I highly recommend, as a realtor, you keep everything, every document that your clients sign, keep them in a Google Drive, Dropbox, box, whatever, file cabinet, whatever you want to do. It's 7 years. Okay. Keep your documents. We don't need, if you're representing a tenant, we don't need the documentation. We don't need all your stuff. You should have it, but we're not going to ask for it. All we're going to ask for is the lease payment request. For Kristen and for Megan, and Kristen is Joanna. Okay, Joanna, I'm gonna let you. Oh, she can't hear me. Okay, I guess I hit it.
No, I
Joanna
hit it
Vessel
for
wants
you,
to
but
join
it
the
said
meeting.
it was unverified.
I think you did.
Yeah.
You. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, she's in.
I did
Hi,
it for
Joanna.
you.
Sorry, guys, I've had the volume down on the TV. Give me just a second to turn it up. There we go. Get it up there. Okay, Joanna, we can see you, your picture now. Kristen, we can see you as well. So the lease, yes, Joanna, go ahead. Did you have a question, Joanna?
Just raise your hand.
Oh, I guess it's not working. Kristen, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much.
You.
Joanna, you're on mute, by the way. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so back to where I was at. Leasing payment request. If you're doing an apartment lease, which Kristen and Megan have a lot of experience with that, same thing goes like you're representing a tenant. It's just the lease payment request is all we need.
Only the listing lease documents.
Correct. Yeah, you can put your other stuff in reach out if you want to. I think it's a great idea to keep your documents there. But like for me, I keep everything in Google Drive. And I buy extra storage, 2 terabytes a year. And that way I keep everything. And then once I get done, once it's about 5 years old, I move it out of Google Drive into Dropbox because I have a big Dropbox there too. And so I just move it over there. And that way I literally have the very first contract I ever wrote 20 years ago in a digital form. I honestly don't know. I had to go look.
Yes.
I can't believe you let her.
I got my first contract handwritten.
I'm sure we did.
Yeah, I did it.
I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. Like a fish. So, okay, and please remember your subject matter experts. Their link is underneath the quick links as well. If you've got quick questions and just want to ask another person's opinion, if you've got a small problem that you need to work out, please go ahead. Use the subject matter experts. That's why they're there. Okay, a couple of scheduling things. Sean Russell has invited us, and let me present this. Give me just a second to get over here to my email and show you this. Sean has invited us to, and let me present that. This is called next Wednesday. They are doing something called Defend a Lantern at Defender Outdoors. And Sean is, so
Shoot pumpkins?
you get to shoot pumpkins.
That's fun.
Carve a face on a pumpkin target and then get creative. Use any firearm or any caliber. Optic and sights, laser sights are allowed. And then it's a contest. Grand prize winners receive a $200 gift card. Sean has asked if we wanted to, let me go back to the email so you guys can see this. He originally said that he wanted to go between 1 and 2 and then 2 and 3. But we've got 100 Days to Greatness until 2:00 on Wednesday, so I can't do it then. So I said, let me ask everybody, does anybody interested in going to do this with Sean next Wednesday? Okay. John, and okay, y'all both have raised hands. Kristen, go ahead.
She said, yes, she's interested.
Yeah, I'm brushing my teeth. Sorry.
I think she's saying, yes, she's interested in going.
Yeah,
Are you-
I'll be there in a minute.
Okay, but you would go to this class with Sean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not really a class, it's just shooting with Sean, basically. Okay, so I'll put you down, Kristen. Anybody else that would like to go with Sean?
No.
No on my end. Thank you, Joanna. Okay.
You don't have to, do they provide the gun and you just bring it, you just buy the ammunition? Or how does that work?
Sean is a member there, so they probably provide something. I can put him in touch with you and you can discuss details.
Yeah, put me on the list and take care.
Okay, so I'm just gonna have him reach out to you through email to you. Savannah, do you want to go?
Well, I guess it depends. Like, I mean, yeah, if they provide, like, I don't have like a gun to bring.
Okay, well, I'm sure that Sean does. I'll put you down on the list and let him contact you. Anybody else want to go next Wednesday? Okay, very good.
I have a gun, but yeah, my schedule's full.
That's fine. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't say they were income producing.
She didn't say what it was full of.
Okay, Joanna, I see your Slack, but it looks like you found the link in the mail. So good. Okay, personal, let me think. Let me do this first. So next Wednesday at 10 a.m., our mastermind will be me teaching a dual subject. I'm going to be doing time blocking and a day in the life of a realtor. So what that looks like is it's a basic skeleton of an outline of things that you should be doing, could be doing, supposed to be doing as a realtor, and how you time block those things. And Gracie learned a lot about time blocking with her new schedule.
Yeah, so much fun.
But once you get into the rhythm of it,
Yeah.
it makes more sense. So I'm going to be teaching that next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Personal plug. I don't know, you guys know that I'm playing with a country band out of East Texas, but we're going to be playing in Golden, Texas on October the 28th. We're the headliner. We have an Elvis impersonator opening up for us at 7. We'll start about 8 or 8:30, but it's Golden, Texas Sweet Potato Festival. You all are invited to make the trip. It's about 2 hours east, out near Mineola. So we're going to be on the 2 flatbed trailers parked side by side. So it'll be interesting. The Golden, Golden, that's the name of the town, Golden Sweet Potato Festival. And it's actually on my Facebook stuff if you guys are friends with me.
The town is called Golden.
Uh-huh. The area is called Alba Golden, because Alba is a town. So it's like Mineola's here, Alba is a little community here, and then Golden is another community that's a little bit further out. They're about 3 miles apart.
In Wood County.
It is Wood County. It is Wood County. So you guys are all invited to that, except Jimmy. Okay, I'm just kidding. I don't know if you saw Rachel's email yesterday. Halloween party will be here at the office on Halloween from 2 to 4. Costumes are required, and we are having that's the final day of Pathway to Mastery. So I've moved that class from 11:30 to 1:30 on that day only, but that is our graduation day. So please come if you can, and then we'll have the party at 2 o'clock. Of course, I'll be wearing my costume to Pathway to Mastery. So we'll get really cool pictures.
Wait, it's on Tuesday? Okay.
It's on Tuesday. Halloween is 3 weeks from yesterday. So that is coming up. And then Rachel also announced that we're having our Christmas party at Guilty Garcia's on December the 10th, which is a Sunday. So we hope y'all can all make that one as well. If you didn't get those emails from Rachel, you need to check and see why you didn't get it.
I did get it.
Okay, then why are you looking at me crazy?
I didn't like it on the Sunday.
Yeah. We're comfortable.
Well,
Okay, let me get into the core value, and then we're going to let Tosya and Holly take over. Okay, so core value. We position our clients as the heroes and strive to add value as their guides. Our job is to serve our clients and ultimately do what is in their best interest. Our interests are secondary to theirs, and we communicate in a way that places their needs and wants at the center. At the same time, we are always looking for ways to make someone's experience better and constantly add more value. We are never content with where we are at from a value perspective, but working to increasingly add to what we can offer and wow our clients. And to that end, I've looked through Holly and Tasha's presentation, and I think that they're going to hit on that pretty hard today. And so, with no further ado, here's our Parker County brokerage managers. I've got it all set up for you.
It's the one Tasha sent you after me, right?
I took that one.
Okay.
Okay, let me present this. And this is called,
Couples therapy.
Couples therapy.
okay,
You didn't know. Huh.
Yay.
I think I start the slideshow here.
And then we can like
Uh-huh.
click through it.
I'm not gonna stand up.
You want me to?
We just sit down.
Oh, are you gonna make Brian click through it?
I'll click, if you want to click through it. Okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's just the space bar. Yeah, space bar.
Okay. So, our presentation today was
We can link on that.
based off of what we learned at TAR, which was a lot that I'll tell you, one of the number one reasons that we go to TAR conference is networking.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people, like we met some fantastic ladies from East
East Texas.
Texas.
Yep.
I'm not sure I can drink at their capacity. Wow. They could go for days. Anyways,
And they're older than us.
yeah, way older.
Yeah.
But I mean, great gals, big producers in East Texas. One of them we even mentioned around about like joining 6th Avenue eventually. We met some great people from Round Rock, from Houston, ran into agents that we already knew. And I don't know, like, I know more experienced agents know, but like I do a ton of referral business, agent to agent business. Like I just closed a transaction from Amarillo. I just sent a buyer from a girl I went to high school with that's an agent in Lubbock.
I have one right
so
now. With them,
connecting with agents all over the state, the country, or whatever is valuable. You can make a lot of money. I think one summer, I think not even working the deals, me just sending emails. I think one month, like I closed $10,000 of just being the person that referred. So think about those capacities. So that's number one reason that we
and we do want everybody, and it's not TAR and it's another conference. We are going to encourage other agents to come with us whatever conference we choose next year, we could collectively choose one together. But we just think it's important. There wasn't, like you said, there wasn't many DFW agents there.
No, it was
And
really,
so-
it was really disappointing to
Yeah.
me. And I know I'm a dork and I like that kind of stuff. So I accept the fact that I'm like that. But DFW, especially Fort Worth, did not have a presence in at TAR. At Texas. Yeah, it was in San Antonio. There was like Holly and I,
RJ
another a
Williams.
couple of agents, and then RJ Williams.
Yeah.
That was the only people from Fort Worth that had any representation. Which, I mean, if you're not into the TAR, you know what goes on in the state at the legislative level, all that. Like, I understand that, but just the networking, because
Yeah.
we were like the only people from Fort Worth, so it was really
we
easy to be
didn't
like,
just do conference all day long. We had fun. So I mean, it's a good team building as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
yeah.
We-
So we attended this one afternoon at couples therapy. I'm not gonna lie, I almost fell asleep because it was dark in the room and I was dreaming
And we were just at
cocktails and
lunch.
happy
Yeah.
hour. But I think kind of what we brought away from this that we thought was so invaluable to share with people is that like the sweet spot of contract to close. And how important like you exhibiting professionalism and emotional discipline really helps give your clients confidence. And it makes referrals for life. I know that I've been through some really rough transactions, and the way that I position myself and the way that I stay calm and collective and become a problem solver, people love, like I have clients that would like, I've been through the roughest transactions with, and they literally would turn around and tell you, I would never use anyone else.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm gonna
I'm gonna go on the next one.
Space bar.
stay there.
I did.
You have to put, you know, it's probably on this wrong thing.
There we go.
So why is it important to exhibit emotional discipline through transactions? One, it's your job. Your job is not to be emotional. Your job is not to work for a paycheck. Your job is to represent your clients. Winning the rapport of the other agent, gets the finish line. It's, the agents that are very negative, like Holly and I were laughing because when we were doing this, we'll talk about this subject, I was like, I have trigger words, like on a transaction. Like when an agent calls me and says, well, I'm just trying to do what's best for my client. I'm like, oh, I am like, I just want to like jump through the phone and be like, as opposed to what? And what is yours? What was your
Oh,
trigger?
I've been in the business for, I'm like, okay, because that makes you the expert.
So we just kind of feel like my rapport with the other agent and my positivity and my mentality that we're getting to the finish line, we're problem solving helps tremendously because like we just on our pathway to mastery yesterday, I know Maria heard this, but like 95% of all transactions fall apart because of the agents involved.
Mhm.
So your interaction and your proactive versus reactive behavior is imperative.
And I think one of the things that we took from our class yesterday is Brian Bavini talked about be the rock, not the river. So be the person, that is staying stable and not kind of going all over the place.
And I think probably another thing, like using the rock and the river example, is like one of my old real estate mentors from Remax, not you, Leanne Nelson, you know her, you've done deals with her. She always used to tell me, because I would get so beat up by people in transactions that would be like, well, I just want my house to sell. Or I don't want to buy an air conditioner, whatever. And just the constant monotonous phone calls every day to like get to solutions and negotiations. She would be like, you're just the sounding board. You're just the sounding board. Like they just need to throw up to somebody and you're that person. And so it really got me very comfortable in sitting in negotiations. And I know like a lot of times my clients, I'm not the warm hugs person in the world, sometimes like in negotiations with my clients, but I stay strong and steady and calm. I'm not going to get involved. I'm going to like listen to what you have to say, and then we're going to talk logic, and I'm going to prioritize logic over emotion. Like I'm going to hear what you have to say, but then for me to advise you, I've got to apply the logic of I understand how you're feeling, but and yeah. So your business is built on your reputation and how you handle disputes and issues. I mean, people know that. So many times I win new clients that have worked with agents, or my sister's an agent or whatever. I get people that come to me and they're like, after my real estate agent got me under contract, they didn't do anything for me. They showed up at the closing table. You know, it's kind of like you just pass through repairs. Oh, well, that's what they said. Just sign here. That's not what they hired you to do. And, you know, it's very important in the pivot that we're probably fixing to take in the business. If you don't show your value, especially as a buyer's agent, don't expect to be compensated for it.
Yep.
And your business partners, your title, your lender, your inspectors, your plumbers, you know, make sure that they love to work with you. Make sure that just because things get heated or you have a low appraisal or repairs aren't done correctly, or a lender didn't get something in time and they said, I never have poor reaction to the people involved in the transaction. If I treat them poorly, they're not going to help me get that transaction to the finish line. They're not going to feel abundant to want to work with me again. And honestly, that's probably been something that I'll like give myself a pat on the back is I have a lot of clients that are in the industry. I have escrow officers and title people and inspectors or whatever. They are my clients. I buy and sell their homes. So I think those relationships are important. And as Buffini says, a buyer should earn you 3 referrals. Right? Or is it just every client?
I think it's every client.
Buyers should earn you at least 2
Yeah,
referrals
yeah,
from contract to close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just really important that we focus on, you know, I mean, do you market well? Is your social media great? Are you a friendly person? Can you get someone to, you know, allow you to pre-approve them? All of those things are not easy, but they are, you know, a little bit easier to deal with. Dealing contract to close and really leading people and guiding people and being a problem solver for people will derive in more business than any fancy marketing post or any fancy event that you ever throw. I just hear it all too often that agents are pretty laxed after contracts are signed.
Yeah. And when you do get those trigger words like I've been in business or I'm just trying to do right for our client, the thing that we always say is, hey, we're trying to find, and this touched on it yesterday too, is we're trying to find a common ground. Like we're trying to make this work for both parties. So everybody's happy, everybody's leaving warm and fuzzy. So, you know, don't just be one-sided on things. Be like, we're trying to find a common ground. Where can we meet in the middle? So
yeah. And I think that like as far as listening skills, and I'll say like just procedure in the transaction is like prepare, be proactive rather than reactive. If you're the listing agent and you had an inspection done on your property yesterday at 8 a.m. and you haven't called to say, hey, how'd the inspection go? What's going on? Is there anything we should be greatly concerned about? Anything you want to talk through, whatever? I see that a lot in the industry where I have to constantly remind the other agent, like, hey, like we've got to keep this thing moving. And if I'm receptive and I'm warm and I take the initiative to reach out and make contact, then I'm keeping it going. I'm keeping that agent progressing. And I hate to say like we have to babysit some agents on the other end, but you do. I mean, that's just going to be a natural part of the business.
and some agents are going to wait till like 3 p.m. like on your 5th day adoption period, and that's your end day, and not have anything to you. So if you call on that within 24 hours after the inspection, be like, hey, not worried about anything, but just wanted to check in.
Yeah, I just think those little updates, it does so much for your clients. I mean, it's sort of, I mean, not that we didn't do this anyways, but Buffini, the Pathway Master, has been a great, you know, tool to kind of remind of priorities, but like checking in with your clients constantly, you know, like, hey, what's up? And I mean, sometimes I call people and I'm like, hey, I have no news. No news is good news.
Yep.
You know, Have a great Friday.
Yep.
That's it. So I mean, and I do know that when things get heated, and I know this from Sherry Van Bever and Mary Ruth Reeves and all them, because that couple of transactions, I'm sure I was crying in the bullpen. I'm sure that shocks you. But Mary Ruth Reeves would be like, don't answer the phone. Like, quiet your mind, stop talking. Like, one of my biggest advice that I give my clients or myself as an agent is some things in real estate are imperative and they're time sensitive and you have to get them done right then, right now, whatever. But like a lot of negotiations, I'm like, it's 9:00 at night. The seller or the buyer's over here spun out of control. They're tired. They've worked all day. I'm like, let's sleep on it, man. A good night's sleep does so much for my mind. And so I try to pass that on to other people. Like, I can be in a tizzy, have anxiety, whatever. And if I'll just like slow down, chill out, stop talking, I can make
Better
more sense to it.
decisions.
I'm
Yeah.
sure Holly doesn't know anything about that when she's like, stop texting me at 11:00.
And these are just some listening skills. We all know how to listen.
And I
But
think,
yeah,
I think a really big negotiating point between agents and all parties is think about the goals. Like, I just closed a transaction right now, and like I know Brian and I talked about it a couple of times about an air conditioner, which after 2 or 3 people went out there, guess what? There was nothing wrong with the air conditioner, but we had estimates for a new unit. We had an estimate for a $6,000 compressor, and we had a first-time home buyer that was needing to move to Dallas and settle on a professional job. And then my client just wants to get back to Amarillo because she's having a grandbaby, all this jazz, blah, blah, blah. And the agent was very emotionally immature and just jumped, well, we'll just terminate. And it's like, girl.
and she told hers, don't be emotional.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Okay, that's real cute though. I didn't say that, but I was like, okay, we're talking about an air conditioner. I'm not going to get emotional about an air conditioner.
Yeah.
But I think it was important for me because every time I got on the phone with this company's agent that works for Jeffrey, I'm just laughing. But you know, I would have to say, hey girl, like I know your client's ready to get settled in DFW. My client wants to see that grandbaby when they're born. So like, let's not talk about the financial goals. How can you and I work together to get these people where they want to go?
Yep.
Because she wanted to have a standstill and she wanted to have a hard stance that she was performing her fiduciary responsibilities and all that. And I do respect that. But there has to be a point in negotiations where like, you got to humanize this process.
Yeah.
Like, knock it off. Like, I get the fiduciary responsibilities, but like we're arguing over an air conditioner and it was an $89 repair. I mean, finally I just called her and I was like, girl, I was like, I will send someone out. I will give you the $89. I was like, do you want them up? But like, how do y'all want this? So just that. So I think a lot of times refocusing on goals that don't shine on the financial matters helps a whole lot. Be concise. Oh, I did really like this. Taste your words before you reach out to someone, before you mad text, angry text, email, whatever. Like, I would advise, because I do this with a lot of people. I know my answer to a question. It's just that let me go bounce it off of Holly. Let me go bounce it off of Brian. Let me see what Jimmy thinks. Danielle, I don't mean to call you. But a lot of times I know she'll be like, I'll help you set it up.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of times, like when I call Holly or I call Brian, like we have very different personalities. So they're like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this perspective? What have you said? So I think a lot of times our peers in negotiations help a lot because we all have different personalities and they're even less removed from the transaction. So they can make a little bit. So I would say, taste your words, reach out to a friend, move forward, don't omit blame, like, oh, you're the reason this happened or whatever. Like, we're not children.
Yeah, but a lot of times they are.
Yeah. And like I said, give it time. Sometimes decisions have to be made quick, but I think sometimes if like a good night's sleep can give so much clarity to all parties.
Yeah.
And that sounds so cheesy. I feel like I'm like my 90-year-old grandmother being like, just a good night's sleep. But a lot of times in negotiation, it helps me so much when I'm like, okay, that was so dumb.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll let you read those.
Oh, well, and again, this is probably stuff we probably already used, but there was just good refreshers. So just what I hear you say, I've heard you say, like, justify their emotion. Like, I've heard you say it. I get it. Like, I get this is frustrating, but this, and that. Like, this is the business side of things. I typically use this phrase is I say buying and selling is very emotional for a buyer and seller. I said, however, this is ultimately a business transaction. I said, so I understand the emotional part of it, but we have to get from A to Z, and this is a business transaction. This is how we're going to get there. So, I mean, I just kind of use those phrases, but I confirm there, like, I get it. It's frustrating. It's whatever. But yeah, I think we all probably use these, and you probably have your own little spiel of what you use instead of these more formal ones. Again, when you're dealing with emotion, because buying and selling is emotional for most people. They've been in that house for 20 years. They've raised their babies there. So it's emotional. Or this is their first time home, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And they have a dad or mom or somebody in the background telling these other things. That gets emotional. And so you just have to justify those. So again, be the rock, not the river. Be their support, be their rock. Allow them to vent. I don't think there's really anything else up there. Acknowledge the emotion. So.
And remember, it's not an emotional, it's aimed at an emotional agreement. It's not a winner. Like, I feel like so many times the mentality of agents are, well, I won or you won or we won. And that's really like, you don't write a contract to like win or lose. It's just not a game. It's like, you know, we've got a willing and able buyer, we've got a seller that wants to sell, and we need to negotiate. It's not a game of winning or losing. It's a game of how well we can negotiate to satisfy everyone's needs.
I think, well, and that's where I was saying you have to find a common ground. We want everybody to have the warm and fuzzies. And one of the things that Brian touched on yesterday is everybody wins. Like, yes, there's those situations where one party's going to feel like, well, I gave it all and they got it all. There are those situations. But for the most part, you want that common ground where everybody feels good about the situation. Okay. Effective questioning.
Stimulating thinking.
Yeah, stimulating thinking. I'm trying to read over this. I can't remember what this one. I don't have my notes on me. Clarifying and understanding. Again, saying, okay, I heard you say this is the goal, so let me understand how to get us there. And I think that was the only thing I think I wrote down on that one. I don't have my notes on that one.
I didn't take notes.
I did, yeah. So again, when people are being emotional, you want to be the neutralizer. You want to be the one of calm, collective. Let's gather everything and kind of figure out where we can go from here. So I think one of the other one is have a soft tone. If people are raising their voice at you, be the calm one.
That means I don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn a positive into negative, but that negative speak, like, that's why those scripts are invaluable. To just put positive language in there, because I don't know. And I'm a phone caller. Like, I'm going to call you and talk to you rather than a text, because my texts come across real snarky, just to be honest with you. So because people are like, oh, and I'm like, I'm just straight to the point. Like, that's what I meant. And like, I didn't fluff it. And
well, that was me the other day. And
so you know, if I send you a text, I have an emoji, it's because I think I'm being snarky. And if I put a smiley face, you're like, oh, she's trying to be nice.
Well, the other day we had somebody call in one of our listings, our lot listing, and I was in the middle of cooking dinner, but I wanted to respond. So I responded something real fast, and I was like, oh, that probably came off. So I immediately called him, and of course he didn't answer. But so then she responds with a nicer little, what she really meant was, but it wasn't because I was trying to be snarky. It was just because I was in the middle of doing something, but I wanted to get him a response. So I quickly did it. But then after I sent it, I was like, oh, I'm probably going to call him. So
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, move past into future, like you're acknowledging all their emotion, but let's move forward. So that kind of was what that was. I didn't understand this.
Yeah, I don't know that we understood that, but that is the goofiest picture of me there. Super cool.
She was using this acronym, BAFNA, Best Alternative for Negotiating Agreements. So find the alternative, then people going back and forth with each other.
That's alternative for negotiating.
Yeah. We didn't really, I wrote it down, so I felt it was important to share.
It was on my continuing ed stuff.
Oh, it was? Well, it's a real thing.
Well, the alternative to them arguing and going, not be able to find a common ground.
Okay,
So you're trying to, you're trying to find the alternative. Let's see how we can move forward.
Tasha does kind of look like a superhero, though, doesn't she? This is Wonder Woman's movie poster.
You kind of have the.
I'm not sure what's going on.
I'll list with that gal right there.
Yeah.
Over on
Me?
the left, Tanner.
Me,
Yes.
Tanner and I, they told us to act like we were happy and that they were not.
That's a
Yeah.
weird, that's a weird thing to write.
Yeah. It's a big idea.
I just did what I was told.
Execution. not
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Well, this is the only place that you've ever seen it.
I know, that's why I thought.
That's great. I think probably best foot forward to summarize this whole, like, how you present yourself is like, you gotta be professional, you gotta be calm, you got to like be a smooth operator where it's like, you don't let people get you in a tizzy, don't let your clients get you in a tizzy, don't let other agents get you in a tizzy. Sometimes another agent says something snarky to me, like, I'm only doing what's right for my clients right back. I mean, that's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to smooth right over it. I'm going to act like I didn't hear that. I'm going to be like, so what are you going to do about the air conditioner?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to have that banter with you. I'm not going to have a banter with, you know, who did what, whatever. It's because my job is not to, my job is not to get in the mud with the other agent. My job is to provide for my client.
Yep.
And too many agents love to act unprofessional. They want right now, they want to argue with you, they want to point blame, and I'm just not going to get into it. And I think the clients feel that, and when I don't have that emotional response, my clients don't have that emotional response. And when I don't have an emotional response to the other agent, if I'm grumpy or snippety or send a short, ugly text or demand something, they deliver that attitude to their clients. And then negotiations get to be very hard because I'm negative, the other agent feels that I'm negative. They delivered a negative message to their clients, and now we're at a standstill and we can't move forward because everybody feels like somebody's wrong or somebody's being shady. Or I mean, literally, I got it from my clients because somebody requested a pair and she's like, I think they're being shady. And I'm like, about the roof shingles? I feel like we got an estimate for like $280 for roof shingles. So I don't know how we're shady, but if you let them control your emotions, the agents, the clients, it will control the transaction. And I think you just win a lot in business when you become that very tempered, very even-keeled, non-reactive person. I think it grows your business substantially because people will find you to be an expert and they find you to be somebody who can represent them well in the toughest transactions.
Yep. And I will add, this really doesn't, I'm going to add to this because she kind of touched on it a minute ago. A text versus a phone call. When you have to deliver some news that's probably not going to go over well, call them. Like, don't send it through a text. I've had agents do that to me.
Seems weird to me.
I mean, I've had people do that to me where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and I'll immediately call them. I won't even text them back. I'll pick up the phone and call them because, for one, I don't know what their tone is. We all know that. But also, like, when you're delivering, like, your fire's terminating or whatever, don't send it in text or email. I always pick up the phone call because they can hear my tone. Like, I'm apologetic, saying, sorry, this is not working out. Like, this X, Y, and Z is happening. So I think that's super important too when you're dealing with people's emotions. Is like, because when I get a termination of contracts, my first thought is like, oh, crap. Now I've got to call my client and tell them this. So I want to have a conversation with the agent and not just through text. Like, I want to get as much detail, hear the emotion, all of that. So I think that's super
And
important
that's
too.
honestly how I've grown a lot in my sphere of people that that I do business with. Is because I never speak poorly of the transaction to people usually, unless you're in my inner circle and you hear about it a lot.
Yeah.
But that's just who it is. But normally, like general public conversation at a basketball game or whatever, I'm never going to speak negatively about a transaction or a house that I'm selling. I'm not going to mention another agent or a lender or anybody in the business. I'm always going to be neutral. And I get a lot of people that'll be like, hey, my agent is so blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. But then again, they're like, next time we sell our house, we're definitely going to use you because you always know the answer. I don't go around bad mouthing and speaking poorly of the industry. I always try to put a positive spin on it.
Yeah. Well, and like that, I have a contract that was supposed to close today. I have been like calling and texting the agent title company, and the agent yesterday finally apologized to me. He's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I had our closing date as the 18th, not today. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't say anything, but I've been telling my clients, I'm like, hey, I've been calling, I've been texting, but when he apologized, I told my clients that. I'm like, hey, he apologized, like he had the, so I was trying to help the situation by making him look like he didn't do his job. Like I said, he apologized, and they're like, we're so thankful that you told us that he apologized, because, you know, we were just over here being like, what the heck is going
How did
on?
you miss the closing date by a week?
I'm judging by the way he picked up the phone when she called yesterday. He's like, hey, Darla. I was like, he is so tuned in. What was going on?
Yeah. I don't know. And I have even, and like, we
I
have
was
been
laughing.
back and
She
forth.
picked up,
And I
hey,
said, we're probably
Darla.
gonna have to extend closing, like blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know how he didn't have our closing day. I mean, I've been calling and
You were the
texting.
buyer?
We're the buyers. And we're cash.
Part-time agents.
Yeah. Well, he's not. He's
No.
the landman in
Is he?
Monte County.
I bet.
So he's a good old boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like selling real estate.
He's a good
Clear
old
to
boy.
Texas.
Yeah. So
Thank y'all very much for the presentation. Thank you
We
for,
hope it wasn't dreadfully boring, because Holly told me this was like dreadfully boring. She was like, this is dreadfully boring, like every, you know.
I just was like, these are things we already know. It's great to hear the refreshers, but I was like, we got to make it a
No,
little
and
bit
I
more.
just thought, I mean, I just see it, I see it on Facebook. I've been lucky enough in my business that it hasn't happened, but I know a lot of agents, and I talk to a lot of people are having deals fall out.
Yeah.
And back on markets and all things like that. And I think that's when you finally tune these skills from contract to close and use your resources and be prepared
wanna go
and
real quick.
respond accordingly. Because, I
time.
mean,
Yes.
when it's harder to get a deal to the finish line, and you've got 8% interest rates, I mean, you wanna make sure that you're doing everything you can to keep that buyer in contract or keep that seller intact and negotiating forward. And so, I mean, yeah, 18 months ago, I'd been like, well, we can throw all that out the window. Nobody cares about that. But right now it's taking that finally, fine tuning to really be calm, respond, do your research and because it's tougher and people are looking for a way out. Trust me. I think a lot of ours, when they get their probably closing disclosures or their fee sheets from lenders, are like, oh crap, I need out of this. Just like we talked about last week, lenders not being forthcoming with fee sheets and things like that. They want to get people out of their contract. They want to get them emotionally engaged with these properties so they're less likely to back out.
And I have one that just closed a couple weeks ago. And it was one of those that it was like, I didn't know if it was going to make every day. I was like, oh crap, what's going to happen? But she did not use my preferreds. And so I called their lender. I'm like, send them the fee sheet now, please. Send them so they can see, because she would have been the one that got to the closing table and been like, my payment's $3,100. What? Like, so, yeah. So I just
How do we get away with it? It's
required like 3 days within so-and-so, like you have to send a disclosure. The fee sheets though, like, well, I have them go over their payment too. Like
I mean, not 100% of the time. Right now, I'm, especially with interest rates, continuing to go up. I honestly, if someone's pre-approving my buyer and we're starting to look at properties, I want those fee sheets and realistic numbers before I write a contract. Because when you go from working with someone, and I mean, 60 days ago, I mean, the feds have raised rates twice in the last 60 days. So that's substantial when you have a first-time home buyer that is VA and has no money.
Yep.
And so I don't want to go shopping and I don't want them to be in the dark. So my expectation of a lender is that I want it before, I want some reasonable scenario of some property we're looking at before we start writing
And
contracts.
again, if your lender's not willing to do that.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah.
Like my mom, literally, we will call her and I'll say, I need estimated costs on these 3 houses.
Oh, yeah.
And, even if it's just a range, we ballparks.
That's what, yeah. I don't want surprises. That's why I always say, I don't like surprises. I don't want my buyer to be surprised. I need this sent to them before we execute this contract, because I don't want to have them pay the option fee and do all this hoopla if it's not going to work in their budget anyway. So,
But that's the aspect of preparation that you're talking about. Like if you're doing that homework up front, you're not dragging people out. Well, I don't want to go shop 15 properties and then they decide that they can't buy or can't afford it or whatever. So I don't want to waste my time. And honestly, that's how you win referrals from contract to close is she educated me up front and I didn't have to do this on the back.
Oh, Holly, you wanted to go over this part
Okay.
here. Jimmy's got something. he
this
wants
has nothing to do with what we just talked about, but we did have some helpful links and an appraiser class that we took. So will this be in Slack?
I can put that in slide.
So this is like, we were talking about mineral rights and all kinds of stuff, county records. These are just some quick links that we got that we found super helpful. So anyways, we just wanted to include those because that was something we talked about.
I'll put that in Slack for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and they're just helpful, like your GIS viewers and things like that. The more we do land, and you're gonna come across,
Yes.
possibly gas easements, where they go, what they do. Those are great maps.
see it?
That the Texas Online is a little bit more in-depth title search than the county does, which is helpful. And then the courthouse one at the bottom, I mean, literally, I had to take a property off the market because my client didn't disclose that they had a lawsuit. So sometimes doing that research is real helpful because I mean, I didn't know about it. They had sued their neighbor and then their neighbor sued them and like nobody said anything until I had a contract come to me and they were like, "Oh, do you know about this?" And I'm like, "No." I mean, I went over it, but buyers are liars and sellers are worse. So yeah, these are helpful things.
Jimmy?
Okay, really quick, I just was, Real Scout. Who is using Real Scout right now
For
currently?
surveys and stuff or?
Regularly.
Oh, yeah, I use it all the time.
Okay, what do you guys use it for?
I send it to my clients and I put,
And they're in the CRM system?
yeah, and I put their like range and price and stuff, and then it emails them all the time. And also they use the app, and I can tell if they looked at a property, I can tell if they like it, they can message me on it. And also I can post straight to social media and people can click it. And then whenever they do it, add them to the start.
Exactly, okay. Yeah, same thing?
And the way I use it is I send it to them. They set up their own searches. I use it mainly for them to draw their own dartboard. And then once they figure out where they want to go and how much money they think they're going to spend, then I usually move them into an MLS search. And then I also use it for my website.
And then you guys prefer that Real Scout system over MLS? Like
See,
the new
we're old
drawing?
school. I use MLS just because I haven't had the
I'm a big boy.
opportunity to do.
It's
real
like
estate
one
yet.
home.
Right, yes, yeah, one home,
One
yeah.
home, one home.
Yeah.
Wait, you said,
I use the MLS as well.
Yeah, which is one home.
MLS.
so let me ask you guys this, the ones that have used MLS old school, is it because, did anybody train you guys on Real Scout?
Yes.
We did.
I know, I'm just saying,
We
like,
did not, no.
y'all didn't, you didn't, did you get trained on it? Okay. So I'm looking at, there's like some people, agents in Bell County, and then just a couple of other conversations I've been having. And so I'm just getting kind of pulled. I'm not like making a decision right now or anything. Was, hey, what is Real Scout used for? Like, how do you use that effectively? And hey, can we reduce our resource fees if we don't use it? And so with ReChat, it's paid per seat every month. So like ReChat is like per user. I can like directly, like, if you don't want to use ReChat, well, we have to. So that's like on that one. But like, for example, if Real Scout was on per seat, then I can like just be like, all right, cool, we can reduce that down. But it's not, it's paid, it's like for like X amount of users, and we have not come close to hitting, I don't think we're, I don't know, close to hitting.
On Real Scout, yeah, we're pretty close to the max.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a whole lot of money, like to like reduce it down. It's $5.50 a month. Like, I'm just being completely honest with our budget and everything like that, you know. So like divide that over 50, it's like $10 a month, you know. So I can reduce it. If no one wants to use it, then I would like cut it. But the issue that arose to me is like, oh, well, we have a software that you guys are paying $10 a month for. So it's like, you know, if no one's using it, again, cut it out. Let's save that money. Like, let's, you know, whatever. But the other issue is like, if it's $10 a month and it's worth it, then should we just do some like training on it? And like, should we be like, hey, here's the pros and cons of, you know, MLS versus Real Scout. Here's how these agents are using it and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
I mean, I do like, I mean, we've just kind of started been tapping into it, but I do like the fact that you can go in there and do like your landing page and all that jazz. I mean, it's not super fancy, but again, I don't have a lot. I mean, all the years, my general's been people that really don't care about your website. I'll be honest with you.
Well,
They were
that's,
paying
that,
for me, and we had paid for a fancy one for a long time.
well, that's true, but not true.
Yeah.
No one cares about your website, but it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a huge tool, and I think one of the biggest mistakes.
Legitimacy almost.
Yes, legitimacy. It provides authority and legitimacy, but also it's your website, just kind of like, we're going off topic here, but like, when we do storytelling for all companies, they're like, we don't care about our website. It looks good. And it's like, no, it doesn't function. The reason you have a website, only reason, is to funnel them. That is the whole reason for a website. Is you take it from your social or you talking to them or whatever, and it's anybody that goes to your website, the only next step that they should be able to do, click on whatever, is meet up. Like that is the direct, or for Real Scout, it provides them, I don't want to meet up with them. Like that's a little rash. Like that seems quick. Geez, I just went to their website. I just saw them on social media. I like their post, and now I got to meet up with them. Jeez. And so with real estate, it's like I love that extra funnel from a Real Scout standpoint of being able to create a search without like meeting this person. And so it's like it feels like a Zillow, like a personalized Zillow of like, oh, I'm searching in this, and then that person reaches out to me, and it's like, well, there is already some engagement, so there is some. Like, I like that from a strategy standpoint. Anyways, with all that said, I just, in November, we are going to have a website seminar. I don't have a date yet because I'm waiting on some storytelling people to get back with me, but I'm going to take some time and like, if you want a custom website, it's going to be a template. So it's going to be like 6 little pages that you have. We're going to have it all there. We're going to have someone there to like implement it for you, create it. If you want to like super customize it, then you got to pay for that. But we're going to give anyone that comes to this, and we'll have time slots for people to do it, to come and just like make a website for you. The other thing, what I'm thinking about tagging onto this is we should maybe do a Wednesday thing of just Real Scout training. So anybody that's
They only $10 a month, the month as well.
yeah, it's
I think that's pennies on the dollar for me. I mean, like $10 a month is
because Chris and I were talking about it. There was several agents that have been talking about it with me, and so I was like, "Is this worth it?" I'm looking at it. It's $5.50 a month. I'm like, okay, that's really not, 10, maybe $20 a month, depending on how many agents we have. So it's not like but like let's train on it. Like let's do it, and then also second, let's get a website that we can make compatible with it. And so if you like the old MLS system, we can still have a website for you.
right.
And so anyways, that's kind of just some thoughts, high level stuff. I like to get feedback before I just make a decision and like spend money. I mean, I want to, like, you guys are our clients. Like what you want, like we need to listen constantly and give you guys what you want, what you need to help you grow your business. So let me take some of this feedback. If you have any more feedback, personal feedback, just let me know. You email, text, or just grab me after this, and I'm going to get some time set aside to do some training on Real Scout, and then definitely the website. I want to have like a all day like seminar, and even if you already have a website, you can get like some feedback. Like I'll have a couple storytelling people just giving you feedback for it.
I was just gonna say, is there any way we could like do the website, like make everybody come in, whoever wants to do it, make our websites, and then the following Wednesday, that be like our training on Real Scout, so that we can integrate the websites, we can make sure they're all working, we can test it on each other, make sure we're getting leads.
I like that.
That's a great idea.
And if there was any way to do like maybe a photo shoot between now and then, just so we have content to put on our websites,
That's a great
just
call.
like updated stuff. I mean,
I
just so that
might just combine the photo shoot with the
just
the
so that we
webpage.
have, we're utilizing our time well, and it's not this kind of like, okay, let me come in, watch you do this, and now I have to trust myself to go put it all together later.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a
Thanks
good
for being here for me.
Real realistic over here.
All right, got it. That's really good feedback. Thank you. Okay, cool. Sorry to take up some time there. I just wanted to get some feedback. We had a lot of people going, all right, that's great. I get to hear from everybody. So
Okay, well, that's our meeting for today. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We will be next Wednesday for time blocking and a day in the life of a realtor at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. See you. If you're staying for 100 Days for Greatness, we'll have lunch here in about 30 minutes for Scott Pendleton. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tosya and Holly, for a great talk.
yeah, I mean, I know. But, so,
yeah.